And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Corner. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Anthony, how are you, my friends?
I'm feeling pretty good, dude. You know, classic Monday after Mother's Day, hanging out, dude. Still full a little bit. Excited for the week, bro. Let's get at it.
Yeah. Definitely a great weekend, and happy belated Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Oh, yes.
Definitely was a great weekend, and Matthew agrees because he says, "Oh yes," which is definitely true. So much to talk about, and he says, "Tony, your mustache is coming in." Wow. I mean, you know what? I feel like it's I'm so used to it that I'm not like thinking about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just seems normal, but like you were completely clean. So how long has it been now?
Since I shaved?
Yes.
Gosh, end of April. So maybe probably close to a month now, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Coming in on a month.
And really, I mean, you had like kind of the 5 o'clock shadow last week. Now this is like really over the weekend. It kind of popped up, or more later in the week. You kind of really were getting close.
Yeah, I guess it was really more this weekend. I guess kind of popped up some more, dude. So,
yeah,
you know.
You're right.
Yeah. Matthew says specifically April 18th.
Wow.
I think he's correct because it was like the day after the release of Money Open Power Plumbers.
Oh, there you go.
Matthew also pumped for the week ahead. And
let's go.
Donna Barnaby coming in here. Brian, Mother's Day present was outstanding.
Just was telling Tony about that.
So we're talking about it.
Thank you, Mom.
I mean, we gotta like serve something on it, right? Like,
yeah, maybe some calamari.
Yeah.
But like I said, so much to talk about. The first thing I would like to mention, a couple of things from golf, but we'll start on the PGA Tour first. So the AT&T, Byron Nelson. And this one was exciting, and it was the mid-20s or close to it anyway, what we expected. And at the end of the day, Jason Day, with his first PGA Tour win in over 5 years, closing out with a 62, opened up with a 64. We had a 69 and 66 in between, and wins by one stroke over Siwoo Kim and Austin Eckroat.
So crazy.
And the craziest part too, so the previous 3 golf seasons before this, he had made like, I think $5.1 million, something like that. And already this season, obviously there's so much left in the season, he's already exceeded that. Because of how well he's played, really.
Wow.
He even said he was thinking about retiring. You don't win for 5 years after being the number 1 player in the world and winning a major. Yeah, you just feel like it's never going to happen again. And I think, that's what happened with Brooks Koepka for a little bit. Obviously, it seems he's making his way back. And it's interesting, too, because for maybe half of this tournament, you felt like Scottie Scheffler would end up running away with it. He ends up tied for 5th. At 20 under par, opened up with 64.
Wow.
But went 71 on Saturday. That kind of set him back a couple strokes, even though he finished with a 65. But anytime, the leader's finishing with a 62, tough to catch up at that point. So definitely was exciting. And like we said, we love the comeback story, and Jason Day winning a golf tournament is definitely that. Anytime you're breaking a drought really over a couple of years, I mean, that's an eternity for these golfers to go there, every week. So I thought this was a great tournament, a great warm up for Oak Hill this week. Rochester. So we're excited about that. We're excited about, the PGA Championship preview on Wednesday. And what I had mentioned to you, Tony, you said, save it. And I've told some people about this already, but, so Saturday I was mentioning, I was playing golf, and matched the career low 83. So I remember like a month ago, I had the 83 or maybe even a little less. And I was playing with Riley, who I always get confused, but I think you met him one time at my house. right? Or no?
Possibly.
You've heard me mention him. I'm always golfing with him and stuff.
Dude.
So we've been golfing with each other. I mean, definitely since high school, maybe even before that. And so, we've played maybe 100 rounds together, and he's just always been ahead of everybody that we play with, like better. So obviously I've never beaten him. And I think at one point on the front nine, I was up like 5, then he made a little push. I think I finished the front nine with like a 44. And then back 9, open up with a double bogey, Tony. And then the rest of the way, it was either par or birdie on every hole except one, which I had a double. So we go to 18, okay, and it's all tied. And the 18th, you've played it. I'm not sure you would remember it, but the 18th hole is, you got maybe 220, 230, and then there's water, and then the greens, elevated. I don't know if you somewhat remember that.
Vaguely.
So hit a great first shot, right in the middle of the fairway, probably 130 yards out. He does the same thing, but actually drives it farther. So maybe he's 110 out, 100 out. We both hit great shots. I'm on the green, maybe 15 feet away, and he's like maybe even 20 feet away.
Are you nervous at this point?
A little bit, but I mean, tee shot was great. Approach shot was great. So no problems there. And so we get on the putting green. He's like 9 feet. Let's call my putt 20 feet. I putt first, being longer. Get it within, maybe 2 feet. He calls it a give me. Good. So that's a par. So he has a birdie putt to win from 9 feet.
Blows it?
No,
he hits it? Oh.
Hits it. So it was just one of those things. So I finished with a 39 on the back.
Damn.
Which is, I had never been sub 40 on a 9 ever.
Wow.
And it was tough, obviously, because I wanted to, get the outright win there. But I just felt like 39 in the back, parring 18. Like, I mean, it's just how many birdies am I really going to get? Like par should be normally that should be good for a push, but steps up, makes a big putt. I mean, that's a tough putt to make. It's kind of like one that's moving left, downhill,
under pressure,
and he had been actually terrible putting, especially early on in the round. Kind of recovered a little bit, so just that close. But then I felt like at least I was like, all right, I know this is coming sooner than later. I mean, I think one other time I had lost by 1 as well, but this one where it really seemed like for the balance of the round that I was going to get it. But like I said, I just trying to have perspective, and I know that I did everything I could. If I had gotten a 10 on 18, then I would have been pretty tight.
Yeah.
Still a little tight, but
that's a great score, dude. That's great, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So nothing like golf, Tony. Nothing like golf. So yeah, excited for the PGA Championship coming up on Thursday. Like I said, we will talk about that on Wednesday. No, also, I just happen to think in Tulsa, Dustin Johnson in a playoff. I might have say maybe over Brandon Grace and Cam Smith winning that event there. So he'll look to win another major championship, which would be his 3rd after an uneven performance at Augusta. So excited to talk about that. And I know you've already started researching your PGA picks. I know, originally you were saying around, but I have a feeling it's not going to be, you want it to, you're going to work harder for the pick. You're really going to go through the numbers and just say, this is the guy.
Yeah, dude. No, I will. I'll do my best.
So good stuff there, but let's go now to the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Stop it, Yep. And Alonso cracks one. The Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Too deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. So an interesting weekend it was in the Bronx, and as everybody knows by now, you go Friday, Saturday, Yankees have nice comeback wins. Yesterday, come up a little short, just this close from an Aaron Judge game tying home run in the bottom of the ninth. So when we were last here, obviously I was, a little upset about the effort on Thursday. The weekend proved to be better, and I honestly, you said before the weekend they were going to take 2 out of 3. would have been happy with it. But, it just, when you're right there and you don't do it, it doesn't leave you with the best taste in your mouth that you could have. You could have, been actually ahead in the season series 4-3. But instead, you're 3-4. But of course, we'll talk about how we got there. And one thing that I did enjoy seeing is the fact that the bats were alive. And that started in Friday's game. So you had some scoring early here, pitching matchup with Garrett Cole and Trevor Kelly. Cole in the first inning is like one strike away from getting out of the inning, 1-2-3. Ends up giving up a home run to Rosarena, who's been locked in to start this season. That made it 1-0. Gets in a little more trouble with a walk, but ends up getting out of the inning. Then Anthony Rizzo, who's been completely on fire, and it was the Rizzo bobblehead night, actually.
Oh,
so
Star Wars Day too. Yeah,
right,
dude.
right. So it was interesting that he happened to homer. So that made it tied at 1. But Cole again, we saw him at the end of his start in Tampa with the long ball, gives up another home run. Jose Siri, who I believe hit one in Tampa off him as well. So that made it 2-1 Rays. So you just were thinking, oh, geez, is going to be another tough one for Cole, but he does get it together. Ends up giving them 5 innings, 5 hits. Those 2 home runs were the only runs he allowed. 2 walks, 4 strikeouts in a no decision. And then you look at, the rest of this game, Volpe, who really seems like he's been heating up recently with a homer to right center, that tied the game at 2. He had another single, which made it 3-2 Yankees in the 7th. Oswaldo Cabrera with a single to right in the 7th as well. That made it 4-2 Yankees. But with Michael King, Tony, after Ian Hamilton does the job, we talked about what an important part of the bullpen, mix he is. He gets the job done. A scoreless inning where he strikes out 3, throws 19 pitches. They go to Michael King. You feel like all is good. And then, unfortunately, he hangs a slider low, 3-run homer. So that made it 5-4 Rays. So then you're thinking, did we just blow it again? It seems eerily similar to the game in Tampa last Sunday. But fortunately, Anthony Rizzo, again, a 2-run homer, made it 6-5. Holmes and Peralta combined to get the final 5 outs here. Wandy, his first save of the season. So showing the ice in his veins that he did all of last season and down the stretch into the postseason. So, obviously great win there. Nice comeback win. So, it left you feeling pretty good heading into, to Saturday, where, you knew it was going to be tough because the Rays were throwing out, Shane McClanahan, who I believe was 6-0. And, was coming off a season which he won the Cy Young and, widely known as one of the better pitchers in the major leagues. So you thought that, with Nestor opposing him, Nestor, tough start the time before. So you thought, maybe this will be, somewhat of a pitching duel. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, it was until the 5th inning where they scored a combined 9 runs. So Nestor, unfortunately, another bad line. His ERA is over 5.5 now. But, just showing you how we got there. Walls had a single in the 2nd that scored a Rosarena, so that made it 1-0. Yankees, nothing off of McClanahan the first 4 innings, but the Rays get a 3-run homer by Yandy, or a grand slam by Yandy Diaz in the 5th that made it 5-0, as well as an infield single from a Rosarena, scoring Wander Franco 6-0 Rays after 4.5 innings. But the 5th inning, very kind to the Yankees to get 2 2-run homers, Higashioka and Aaron Judge. So nice to see Judge hit a home run, his first one since coming back. So that made it 6-4. Next inning, Volpe scored on a wild pitch that made it 6-5. Judge hits another home run, so that made it 7-6 Yankees. And then Oswaldo Cabrera, a huge 2-out single, scoring LeMahieu and Rizzo. LeMahieu, very close play at the plate. They reviewed it. He just got his hand in under the tag, so that made it 9-6. Yankees bullpen was pretty good, but Marinaccio struggled a little bit and ended up giving up 2 runs on a single, so that made it 9-8. But fortunately, Clay Holmes and Wandy Peralta once again, combined this time for 2 2/3 innings, allow 3 hits, strike out 4, and only walk 1 batter. Peralta, his second save there. So Wandy, who knows? Maybe he's going to be the closer. Seems like the Yankees have a lot of confidence in him. And really, if you think about it, of recent, Marinaccios had a blow up or 2. We know about what Holmes has done. Michael King just gave up the 3-run homer. So he's kind of been the one that's pitched through with really being unscathed of recent. So it seems like he's kind of the most trusted option out of the pen. So, you feel great about that. A 9-8 victory, heading into yesterday's game with a chance to take 3 out of 4 from the Rays. Like I said, get to 4-3 against them this season and kind of show that maybe, they were a product of this week's schedule. They can be beaten. They're not going to win 130 games. That's the type of feeling that it gave you over those first 2 days. You feel like the offense is clicking. You score 6 runs and then 9 runs, so 15 runs in 2 games. I mean, we know they hadn't exactly been doing that leading up to this series. So you love to see that. Yesterday, was one of those back and forth games. And just to give you an idea, and also I was thinking about this, before, just earlier today, Clark Schmidt was on the mound. We talked about Eflin, how the Mets had beat him around. And I mean, how many times, Tony, and I'll tell you how we got there in a second, but do we need to talk about how Clark Schmidt just isn't capable of being a major league starter? 4 2/3, 6 hits, 7 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 6.30, now 1-4 on the season. How do you keep throwing this guy out there? How is not anybody a better option than Clark Schmidt starting a game at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's so. I mean, we've talked about him a few times, and again, like I could see maybe why some guys, or at least like Boone or Cashman, whoever, maybe want to give him some more chances.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, I mean, especially after like yesterday's start, I mean, there's nothing there for him to be starting. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I would at this point question his ability in general. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, even if you throw him out from the bullpen, like for as a setup guy or something, I mean, I guess that's obviously your next move to try and switch it up. But I mean, like you said, like there's no one else they can put out there to like open a game. I mean, he hasn't given you any. Like, has he had one good start? Maybe one. I think we talked about,
and it was like okay. Right? And I'm pretty sure, other than that one win, like whether he's got the loss or not, they've lost every single one of his starts. So it's like,
oh my gosh,
he's going to lose every time. I don't know what we're thinking. And Garcia, in relief the other day, did a good job and then was optioned back down because he threw 3 innings. But it's like, I mean, why not give him a shot at this point? I mean, he's about to be off the team. I mean, by the end of the year, if he doesn't do anything, so you might as well give him a shot now.
Yeah.
So, that was disappointing. But just showing you how we got there. Of course, he runs into trouble early. They score Yandy Diaz on a ground out in the first, 1-0. Paredes, a single that scores Siri that makes it 2-0 in the third. Lowe, a sac fly, makes it 3-0 in the third. Fortunately, and one guy who seems to be heating up is Waldo Cabrera. Mentioned about the clutch double the game before. He hits a 2-run homer to right center, scoring Trevino. So that made it 3-2 Rays. And then Rizzo gives the Yankees the lead. A couple batters later, a 2-run shot made it 4-3. So Rizzo absolutely on fire. Definitely been the most consistent Yankee hitter this season. So that made it 4-3. Arozarena hits a sac fly to tie the game at 4. And, after that, they go with the pitching change, Abreu in, he gives up, a couple of hits. And then, you got Taylor Walls up, who's not even a good hitter. And Abreu just leaves one over the middle of the plate, grand slam, just killed the game. That was the difference in the game, clearly. Yankees will get a couple more runs on a Judge single, and then an Anthony Volpe homer. So Volpe really, really heating up of recent. Now up to 6 home runs on the season. So definitely seems like the power's there, the bat speed's there, just looking for that overall consistency, but impressive nevertheless. So that made it 8-7. And then the final batter of the game, you got Adam pitching to Aaron Judge. and he hits a ball that travels 399 feet to left center.
Jesus.
Would have been a home run in 19 ballparks, middle of the warning track, caught, exit velocity over 100. So right there, kind of a synopsis of the season series with the Rays. So at the end of the day, yesterday was disappointing. But I think the overall message this weekend was positive, just in terms of offense, just in terms of, competing with the Rays, showing that they're not going to just blow us out, especially in our own building. So it seems like the message was received. And it's just nice that, you can be in these games, when Nestor's getting bombed, when, Schmidt's getting bombed, when Michael King's giving up 3-run homers, that it's not like the other team has a lead late and you don't have a shot. So you feel good about that. But at the same time, I guess Brito is supposed to start today. There's some confusion, as to, I guess, like the MLB at Bat app says that it's like they don't have a starting pitcher. ESPN is saying Brito. His ERA is terrible, just like Schmidt's. So, maybe they do an opener to avoid the top of the lineup in the first inning and then go to Brito. I mean, I don't know. He's another one. I don't know how you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like anybody off the street, even Mad Bum, I think I would welcome to have start games.
Oh.
I'm surprised nobody's picked him up yet because it's major least minimum. I know he pitched terrible. I mean, the past.
He's done,
years,
dude. Come on.
He's done, but you're telling me that there's not at least a chance, Tony, that he could do better than what Schmidt and Brito are doing.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the chance is slim, though, Brian.
But it's not worth taking. I mean, it's like there's no way, Tony, when whether Brito or Schmidt are pitching that you can count on them to give up less than 3 runs, and really it's less than 4 runs. And that's pathetic.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I know, 10 ERA, I get it. But last year, I mean, what was his ERA last year? 4.88?
Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona.
I mean, you're talking like 4 starts he had this season, 16 2/3, gave up 25 hits.
Matt
dude.
Blake,
19 earned runs, 15 walks, over 16 innings, dude. 15 walks.
Blake, Tony. You might as well sign to a minor league contract. There's no risk. It doesn't hurt you at all, and you know that.
No, I guess if he's in the minors, yeah. Does he want to be though?
I guess he's getting paid anyway. But what?
Yeah.
He's 33 years old. Like, going to turn 34 later this year. I mean, he clearly, I'm sure, doesn't want to just hang him up and end on this terrible note here. He was such a good pitcher too. It's like, what happened?
So ridiculous. Yeah. Really.
I mean, I know velocity went down, but I guess he just couldn't adjust to that, and that's the reason for the struggles. I mean, no other way to really chalk it up other than that, right?
Yeah. Such a shame.
Yeah. So I know Severino, I want to say it's tomorrow is doing a rehab start in Somerset, actually, where Corey, works.
So he'll be back soon.
Yeah. So I think it's that one. I'll Google it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be that start, one more start, and then back in the majors, which will be nice. And obviously with Severino, we know how fragile he is. So you want to make sure, he's all right. So let's see, 21 hours ago. Let's see what we got. I know there's no good news on Rodon. That's for sure. It says 21 hours ago, Rodon is back to playing some catch after another no-throw stretch. This one for a cortisone shot that he hopes ends more than a month of back tightness. Right on schedule, he resumed the throwing program Saturday morning. So far, he's just throwing 60 to 75 feet. He's going to up his distance money, so we'll have a better barometer heading into the week at where we're at and where we can progress, Boone says. Yankees think Rodon could be back throwing off a mound fairly quickly if his back issues are over.
Nice.
And then if Sevy doesn't have any unforeseen issues pop up in his rehab start with AA Somerset on Tuesday night, he might be off the IL and starting for the Yankees next Sunday in Cincinnati. Boone saying that he thinks it's in play. All those things considered, how he's doing, what it looks like, how he's feeling, then we'll make that call. So hopefully we get some good news after Tuesday. It would be nice to have Sevy back in the rotation. I guess, yeah. I mean, Schmidt has to be the first guy, even though Brito does not deserve to be up here in any case. But and who knows what we'll get from Severino?
Mm-hmm.
We know he can be inconsistent, but clearly, we're gonna give him plenty of leeway based on what we've had to deal with the other starters. Herman's been okay. Brito and Schmidt, I mean, that's not major league pitching.
No.
So that'll be interesting. Looking at other injuries here. Peraza, we saw him in that pinch running. When he was pinch running, get hurt. He's eligible to be activated Tuesday. Boone says we'll see about that. I know he had only hit under 200 in 12 games, but really would like him to be on the roster. And they're saying Donaldson expected back later this month. And come on. What are we doing? Do we really want to hear me yell about that all the time? I don't think anybody, Tony, wants to hear that.
There's a few people out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, prefer probably.
Yeah.
And then so today it starts a 3-game series in Toronto. A team, we're jockeying with for position here. Alek Manoah on the hill for them has struggled this year. Loves chirping the Yankees. He's going to give them all he can. But 1-3, 4.83 after being one of the better pitchers in the American League the last 2 seasons. Brito, I mean, not any better. 2-3, 5.81. So you look at that, you think about the Jays lineup, you think about the way the Yankees have been hitting recently. You would think this is going to be a high scoring game. I just have a tough time seeing Brito giving up less than 3 over 5, Tony, right? I mean, almost like a 0% chance.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a tough lineup. It's a tough team again. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think there's anything good coming from them.
And this is on the heels of them sweeping Atlanta at home. But
that's right. The Blue Jays just did. Yeah.
But they did lose the previous 2 to Philadelphia. So kind of an up and down scenario. And if you look at how the team stack up, believe it or not, we feel like the Yankees are struggling so bad. They've actually hit 16 more home runs than the Blue Jays. The batting average Toronto's is 20 points higher, though, 21 points higher.
Wow.
Even in runs scored, Toronto has 30 more hits, obviously product of that. On base is 24 points higher. Slugging is identical at 4.14. Team ERA, Toronto has them by 0.03. Toronto has a whip of 0.01 higher at 1.26. The Yankees have walked 18 more batters, but struck out 23 more batters. So pretty neck and neck. They kind of trade off on a couple statistics where one's better than the other. But nevertheless, I know that Rogers Center, especially since the Blue Jays have kind of reverted to form, got all those young guys together competing, Vladdy Jr., all of that, never is easy there. So I think it's like when the season started, what we were saying, 2 out of 3 has to be the goal here. And I think it's attainable. I just hope that the bullpen's not blown out tonight with Brito on the hill. That's the only concern I have.
Well, are you what's the deal with Marinaccio, dude?
He's fine. He just sometimes location's a problem. So whenever his location's off, he's not gonna be good. But when he's hitting the corners with that fastball, in the upper 90s, and then he's got his off-speed stuff. I mean, he really is unhittable. So I think he'll be fine. It's something, relievers, we see it all the time, the stuff that they go through. And one thing, too, that I didn't realize, this is actually a 4-game set. So,
let's go.
Obviously 3 out of 4 would be nice. The other pitching matchups, tomorrow, Herman Gaussman, Wednesday, Cole Bassett, and then Thursday, Cortez Barrios. That one could get into the 20s, potentially, the way Nestor's been pitching recently. And we know about Barrios, but really hope Nestor turns it around. That's
me too,
we need him. We need him. Catching up on some comments.
Yeah, buddy. Let's do it here. Because we have a lot of comments actually. Let's see. Way back when Buffer says hello to Matthew, asking how he is. Buffer also says Yankees look good. They turned the corner. Slump is over, he says. I don't know how you get if that's like sarcasm, if you think, but it's all right. Matthew coming in, hey, Buffer, good. How are you? He says, and then he goes, Friday game was sick. Rizzo 2 bombs was dope. Matthew was there. Darren Waller was at the game. LOL. Matthew, did you see him? And because I gotta say, all in all, much better effort and resiliency this weekend as a whole from the team. Went toe to toe with one of the best teams in the league and could have swept them potentially. And he says, yeah, Brian, no doubt, dude. They heard you, Barnes. He says, Refer comes in. The worst part about the Yankees schedule is that they are playing Toronto tonight. Toronto is red hot. Matthew saying that he told you, Brian, that Brito was no bueno. And then he's like looking forward to Rodon, and he says he's also pumped for Sevy as well. That's going to be huge, honestly. Like, again, like Sevy seems to be like just around the corner in terms of coming back, and hopefully something good of Rodon comes, and that's like quite some reinforcements there for your pitching staff. So
yeah, absolutely. I just hate though that it has to be like, I feel like we can't just assume though that he's going to be effective and healthy the
Sevy or
that's the only annoying thing. But maybe just the time off to begin the year. Less wear and tear on the arm.
Yeah.
Maybe he could be okay, but the stuff is there.
Right.
So it's just a matter of executing and coming up with a good program in between starts that keeps him healthy.
Right.
Because when you pair him with Cole, when Nestor's actually pitching well, and then when Rodon comes back, I mean that's a great rotation, and then we don't have to talk about how we have to win games 9-8.
Right.
So that's what I got there, Tony. So we'll talk more about tonight's game in a sec. What do we have for your New York Metropolitans?
All right, dude. So we have this 4-game set against the Nationals that started this weekend here. The Mets went 2 for 3 this weekend. Game 4 is tonight. We'll get to that. But starting with Friday, the Mets take the first game here 3-2 in a pretty interesting game. And honestly, the weekend gets even more interesting after this. But Tyler McGill on the mound for the Mets, and honestly, like, he's one of those pitchers too where you're kind of like don't have total confidence in him. You wouldn't be surprised if he throws a good game. You wouldn't be ecstatic either because he's been inconsistent. Final line ends up being 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He threw 93 pitches over those 5 innings, and he kind of really struggled with location. The 4 walks. Getting 4 hits, giving up an RBI single in the first inning too. I think this is the 7th game in a row that the Mets have given up a run in the first inning. And I keep talking about how the Mets are starting these games off on the right foot. And it's just like, you don't want to be giving up runs in the first inning because then that is when a lineup who's had trouble, like striking out a lot as a team can get kind of angsty and just not have the right feel at the plate, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, 3-2 is a low-scoring game. After that RBI single, they don't score again until the 4th. And again, McGill's still in the game there at that point. Thankfully, you had a bullpen come in that was kind of well rested from the previous few starts. You had Verlander giving some length too. So we had like all our best guys come in. Brigham, Ottavino, Robertson, and Drew Smith. And it was business as usual, really, for Ottavino and Brigham. David Robertson comes in the 8th. It was a 1-2-3 inning. I think the first batter was like a first pitch ground out, and then he struck out the next 2 batters. So, Buck rightfully so was like, all right, like let's put Robertson back out there in the 9th. And he gets the first 2. I think he walks the leadoff batter in the 9th, gets 2 strikeouts, walks the next batter. And then Buck actually goes to Drew Smith in the 9th to get the final out. And Drew Smith actually has a pretty impressive little outing there to get that final out. He throws 4 pitches, starts, I forget who the batter was, but starts him off with a backdoor slider that I think he fouls off, and then throws him 3 back-to-back fastballs, fouls off, and then I think it was a ball and then a strikeout, swinging. So it was nice to see Drew Smith come in there and kind of, resort to his fastball and honestly successfully get a strikeout. Because, I mean, I feel, I always talk about, too, like how a lot of these bullpen guys don't throw fastballs. Robertson, for example, over those, inning and 2/3, he didn't throw 1 fastball.
I can't believe that.
It's dude, it's all cutters and sliders and curveballs.
Does he have a sweeper?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
If he does, he rarely uses it. He really does. Like, it's always like it's cutter and then knuckle curve a lot.
But
dude.
especially like if his repertoire is like that, I mean, why not sneak in a fastball then?
I
Because
know.
like they're not gonna expect it at
Yeah.
this point, right?
And it was so funny because I don't even remember, like 2 weeks ago, I was complaining about how Drew Smith throws nothing but fastballs.
Right.
And it'd be literally like you throw like 3 fastballs back to back to back that are all fouled off, and then you throw a 4th fastball, and then the guy hits it, and you're like, yeah. Like mix it up, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I guess it's like I know it could be the same thing with the fastball, missing on the location, but I just feel like with the off speed, like it's just only throwing off speed. Like one of them's bound to be flat right over the middle of the plate, not breaking.
No, yeah, exactly, dude.
But on a low pitch velocity, so they're gonna hammer it.
Yeah,
I know Robertson's done a good job in avoiding that, but
yeah, he does have great movement. He had his issue was just again like 9th inning coming in lead off walk, like his cutters were not hitting the corners.
Oh, so he does throw a cutter.
Yeah, he does throw a cutter.
How often is the cutter? Do you know, like?
Oh, geez. I mean, based on what I've seen this season, I would say like, I don't know, close to like 40% of the time.
I feel like you're riled for the FanGraph breakdown on the pitch selection.
Oh, always, dude. Always, dude. Percentages, dude.
Dude, I feel like I was a little late to, because I've been looking up baseball stats since I was in like elementary school, but I was a little late to FanGraphs, but between the velocities and then pitch selection, it is kind of sick.
Yeah, dude. It's really dope.
Plus, it gives you everything like Baseball Reference does, like stat wise.
Yeah. I do like for me, like I like to use both. Definitely. Right. Baseball Reference is just classic. It's a very easy interface to use.
It seems like it's the right thing.
Yeah. yeah. It just feels right, dude. But anyway, seeing Drew Smith out there and then like first pitch slider. I mean, I enjoy Drew Smith again to have him come in a high leverage situation, 2 men on, 2 outs, you're going down by 1. For him to confidently locate the fastball too. I mean, I think that was a great step for him coming out of the bullpen. But I mean, you'll get the team as a whole here. Obviously, we had 1 scoring opportunity, which was Lindor. It was a 3 RBI single. And that was really just because, I mean, yeah, obviously good hit by Lindor, but the Nationals just obviously didn't play it well. They kind of hesitated. We were able to score 3 runs on a single. Great that we had runners in scoring position for that time. But I mean, as a team, we had 10 hits, and I think we were 1 for 9. Yeah, 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. I mean, you got to do better than that. Thank God you had a bullpen that backed up Tyler. And a win is a win, dude. It was a clutch hit by Lindor, but everyone else was pretty silent. Like Alonso, for example, was 1 for 4. Obviously Tommy Pham, haven't seen a lot from. McNeil did well, 2 for 5, but again, like you're not scoring with runners in scoring position, and we'll get to honestly Alonso in a little bit. Saturday, dude.
Oh, wait, before we get to Saturday, can we go Robertson real quick?
Yeah, what do you got?
So first of all, what did you think the curveball was? Or the cutter?
Cutter, I think I said like 45%.
Okay, so 52.6. Curveball.
I mean, if the knuckle curve, probably close to 40, I would think, right?
30.1.
30.1, okay.
And then slider.
Well, I mean, I don't know, what is that, like maybe 15%?
15%.
Yeah.
And then changeup is the rest is so low, I'll just say changeup 1.9. And how about this? In 2012 with the Yankees, he threw his fastball 80.9% of the time.
Get the fuck out of here.
This season, 0.4.
That's ridiculous. Dude.
Velocity up, though, to 94, which is interesting. Highest of his career. But maybe just because he had the elbow thing and he wanted. But also, doesn't a curve put more strain on the elbow than a fastball?
I mean, it's hard for me to say, but I mean, you got to imagine. I mean, throwing all those breaking balls, it still affects your elbow. I mean, it all does, dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a crazy stat, though. Over 80% of the time when he was with the Yankees, was throwing fastballs.
Right. And then now he leads with 52% with the cutter. Didn't throw the cutter back in 2019. So this is something that he developed in 2021. So it's just kind of interesting to see how his kind of repertoire has changed.
Yeah, dude, that is pretty crazy.
But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying, I guess maybe like you said, his velocity's up on the fastball at what, 95?
94. And previous, his high was 93.
Right.
Point
whatever. I guess maybe it just wasn't effective, so he just had to adjust. Maybe because 93 for your fastball, it's not phenomenal.
No, but he never threw smoke. But I think it's like sometimes like a guy like their average velocity is 92, but then like they can hit 96 if they need to. I think he's one of those guys.
That's pretty interesting, dude. Definitely be an lookout for when he throws a fastball, dude.
Yeah, that'll be breaking news.
All right, so let's move on to Saturday here. This is where things kind of get interesting for the Mets as Joey Lucchesi started this game. Another pitcher, you're like, oh man, I don't know. We'll see what the bullpen does. Can we get some offense going? Hopefully here. The game started and it was raining. And I want to say that again, bottom of the first, Lucchesi gives up an RBI single here. And it's like, dude, like, what are we doing? Like, again, first inning, not getting the game off right. And it is raining actually like, pretty harshly, dude, by the way. I don't know if you like saw this. I want to say it started in the bottom of the first and they kept playing through to like maybe the top or the bottom of the third, I think.
And did they know, was this in the forecast the whole time and they're just idiots? Basically.
Yeah, they were literally just idiots. And again, like they played for 3 innings in pouring rain, dude.
And it wasn't even like, sometimes I guess it's raining decently, but when you're looking on TV, you can't even tell. But then when they do like the camera to the side, then it looks like it's a little bit. It wasn't even that. It was like completely, you could see it right on the face.
It was
of
like
the screen.
Literally a game angle, like you see rain.
Wow.
So it was so odd that they took so long to call this game. And I'm pretty sure from what I heard, it's all like it's up to the home team to kind of decide to call it, whatever. So anyway, after the third inning, they get the ground crew on and like they cover the infield and it stops raining maybe a half hour later. But they waited so long that the fucking infield was so soaking wet.
Oh, jeez.
So they're just like trying to dry it up for the next like 3 hours, dude. And they end up calling the game. And they said that it would be part of a split doubleheader for Sunday. So that means like the people who got tickets for Saturday were screwed. And then if you wanted, like if you were going to the Sunday game anyway, you still have to buy tickets for the first
Saturday game. Yeah. And
so
then
like,
maybe you couldn't go Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like so many people got screwed, I feel. And then like why wouldn't you just make it a part of the Sunday ticket? Like it was just so weird. Dude.
And they've always been bad. I think there was a 2-game series, Yankees Nationals, a couple years ago. The whole thing got rained out. My friends made a special trip, go down to DC, everything, and they played like 3 or 4 innings, and then that was it. And then they couldn't go to the makeup games.
Right.
So they just were in DC for nothing.
Yeah, it's like so tough, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they start this game now on Sunday. From then on, I think Lucchesi lasted another. No, he didn't actually. Nogasek was in at that point. He gives up another earned run, gets only 2 Ks over 3 innings. Leon is another guy they brought up. They threw him in there for 2 innings. He have another earned run, which honestly like isn't terrible. Again, like you're not expecting a lot from Lucchesi. These aren't your greatest bullpen guys, and they've still been overused. But there was just a complete and total lack of offense. I mean, you're playing Trevor Williams started for Washington, and you could barely even hit well against him. He gave up 2 1/3 innings, only gave up 1 earned run. And then after that, the Nationals used 5 other bullpen guys, and you only scored on 1 of them once. And it really was just honestly nothing good. Like I mentioned, like that one score, I think it was a sac fly RBI. Yeah. Nemo hit a sac fly in the third. And then I think maybe someone scored on a wild pitch. But other than that, I mean, it's like, dude, like what is going on? As a team, you had 11 hits, right? So you get men on base, 1 for 6 runners in scoring position. You struck out 7 times as a team, which I guess is on the lower side recently. But still, I mean, like your big guys, like Alonso was 1 for 4. Lindor was 0 for 4. McNeil 0 for 4. Your top of the lineup did absolutely nothing. The guy you brought up, Michael Perez, 30-year-old, went 4 for 4. He was catching yesterday. Yesterday, first game, which was a nice bright spot. He was getting on base, bottom of the lineup, but you did nothing to bring him in, as I was saying. Ended up losing this game 3-2. Moving on to the second game now.
Maxie boy?
Yeah, so Mad Max comes to make his return. And this is actually pretty interesting because a lot of people had problems actually with 1, Max Scherzer's line, and then 2, like Buck pulling him after 5 innings.
How many pitches?
Let me double check. It was 90 something, I think.
Oh, okay. So it's not like he threw like 75.
No, 83.
Oh, yeah.
So it's still not terrible.
What were the radar gun readings?
He was hitting 96 in the fastball.
Oh, which is good.
Yeah, consistently 94, 95, and then when he needed it, there was a 96 there.
Yep.
Which is fine. It's great, actually. And he was locating his fastball nicely. You know, he loves to throw fastballs high in the strike zone. And he was really painting like the outside corner, top
with
of the
strike zone. I mean, with the fastball.
With the fastball, yeah, which was perfect, dude. He was fanning a lot of players. You know, he fanned 6 guys over 5 innings, which was okay. Give him 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks. And honestly, the earned run was kind of a bogus play by Marte in the outfield, who, like, you know, it wasn't an easy catch. Like, it was, you know, the ball hit the fence and he was tracking it running back. But I guess, I don't know, he just got either kind of turned around, lost the ball in the air. This is like the first inning, I think. Abrams doubled to center, and Dom Smith, of all people, of course, scores. But I mean, like, I don't know. Marte just didn't play the ball correctly.
Yeah,
he totally
like
blew
Aaron
it.
Hicks.
Yeah, he really blew it, dude. Like, he should have caught it. And Marte actually had a good day offensively. You know, as you see here, the Mets scored 8 runs. They beat the Nats, 8-2, which was great, dude. And again, Scherzer's final line of 5 innings. I mean, he came back from injury. He had a lingering issue, and then like the neck spasms too, not only with the shoulder. Like, I'm not that upset that Buck limited his pitch count.
Right.
And again, like, 5th inning, it was still a tight game, I think. Actually, no, by top of the 5th is when we started scoring. So it was like, why not? Yeah, he threw 83 pitches.
But they scored and then he didn't come back out because there was a long period of time in between when he finished pitching, or did he pitch? Or okay, so all the runs came in the top half of the 5th for the Mets, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so he did pitch the 5th.
The bottom.
Of the
Yeah,
5th.
yeah. And then they pulled him.
Was he, that inning specifically, was he in command or?
Yeah. I mean, again, he only gave up 2 hits. 2 of them were in the first inning.
Okay.
So he was doing great. Dude.
Yeah.
But again, like, you're up 8-2. Scherzer's been battling injuries. Why not? Like, he threw 83 pitches. Like, yeah, that's not too low.
Throw mid-90s next start.
Yeah,
you're fine.
dude.
And I think, right, I mean, as far as your expectations going into this one, I mean, I think it was as good as you could have hoped for.
Yeah.
Kind of, because the way he had looked.
Yeah, expectations were super low, and people were, like, getting pissed at Buck for pulling him, and then pissed that his, like, he did, no depth, no, like, in the game. And it's like, this is the one game you didn't fucking even need it, dude. You're up by 6 runs, in the 6th inning. Like, and again, the offense exploded in the 5th, as I said. You finally got to this guy, Irvin, who's a young pitcher, I believe, 26 years old, Jake Irvin. Had some solid outings against the Giants. He threw 6 1/3, no earned runs. So you came into a pitcher who was actually pitching well for Washington. Your offense sucked. And yeah, it took you to the 5th inning, but you finally kind of got to him. All that scoring really started, honestly, with a Marcana double to left, brought Marte in, Nimmo with an RBI single, Lindor actually with a nice, like, bloop, like, ground ball to third. And it was just, like, soft enough that they couldn't play it quick enough. Lindor reaches to first. At that point, I think Beatty gets walked in. They pull Irvin, they bring in a reliever, Thompson, I think. First batter walk, Beatty gets on base, Marte RBI single, and then Marte goes to steal second. I think wild throw by the catcher, Beatty scores. So, like, they did a great job again. Like, it was really fundamental getting men on base, bringing them in with, like, bloop singles, like Marte being aggressive on the bases, trying to steal second, challenging the catcher. Beatty comes in for another score. So, like, they just had, like, a phenomenal rally top of the 5th, seemingly out of nowhere. Honestly, all these batters came in with some confidence at the plate, because Irvin threw really well the first 4 innings. But yeah, just totally exploded in the 5th, and then bullpen took care of the rest, and it was a great, like, team game because everyone scored. I mean, Jesus, I think they made it back to Kana, honestly, in the 5th. And yeah, dude, I mean, you look at the box score, obviously the big difference there is runners in scoring position. They were 4 for 10 as opposed to 1 for 9, which is great. I will say, though, I mean, Pete Alonso was really nowhere to be found. I mentioned he was 1 for 4 Friday, first game on Sunday. Second game on Sunday, he was 0 for 2 with 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. I will say, like, Washington, I know it's been a couple like series. Alonso like has been kind of cold, but Washington, like I feel like pointed out a huge falter in Alonso at the plate because like they were pitching him up and in. Fastballs up and in, and he was swinging like right through them.
He just can't get. And wasn't this going back to last season? Like even though he hit a lot of home runs, but he would never hit him from that way.
Yeah,
it'd always be low fastballs or hanging breaking balls.
And then even so, he swings at a lot of breaking balls low and outside. Which again is a problem with a lot of batters because it's tough. But it's just, I mean, you gotta lay off of them, dude. You have to expect some type of break. You can't just I feel like he's just swinging at way too much, dude. Like I think he needs swinging way less would certainly help him because a lot of those fastballs that are up and in, sometimes they're out of the strike zone. The balls that are low and away, sometimes they're out of the strike zone. Like stop swinging so much. But he's just, I don't know if he's just like trying to get out of this slump, so he's swinging for the fences or something. But those are not your pitches, dude. Like wait for your pitch. Because I mean, we really like in those games that are 3-2, it's the 8th inning and he's up. Like you're the guy that we want to be getting something going. Like in 1-run games, like you should be someone we can look to, and he's striking out a lot. So I mean, it's not good. He's got to figure it out. But I mean, obviously, overall, taking 2 out of 3 from the Nationals this weekend, it's great. Game 4 is tonight.
Kind of interesting. Or
this afternoon, it's 4:10, I think. Yeah,
4:05.
4:05.
And I think it represents, Tony, a good opportunity for the Mets. Patrick Corbin going up against David Peterson. As you can imagine, total set at 9.5 runs. And the Mets -160 favorites. So I think they're going to score some, but they're going to give up some as well. So maybe, we get to a battle of the bullpens late, which you would feel that the Mets have the advantage. How do you kind of see the trajectory of this one?
So I know, kind of like what you said, I think it's going to be a very high scoring game, definitely over 9. And I think, unfortunately, Peterson here, I mean, probably gives up runs early. I'm hoping the Mets can translate some offense from yesterday, scoring 8 runs yesterday. Hopefully we can translate well today. As I mentioned, you got to look at Pete Alonso to kind of step up here. But other than that, I mean, Con had a great game yesterday. Marte got some offense going. Like, let's keep that.
Which has been well missed.
Yeah, holy shit, dude. So, and then again, just seeing him try to steal second, stuff like that. Like, that's what you need him to do. As of right now, I would want Marte off the team, honestly, dude.
Yeah.
Like, defensive liability. He made one good sliding snag yesterday, but again, it's been a liability all season. His age definitely seems like it's coming up to him, and if he doesn't, consistently produce offensively, it's just get him out of there, dude.
Yeah.
Again, Mark Canha, someone who had a bright spot yesterday too, kind of finally coming back to playing left field a little bit. That was nice. So maybe stick him around. Maybe he can kind of get a little hot at the right time. And like I said, maybe maybe Alonso scoring well, but again, Peterson, maybe 3 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs. You got Ottavino, Robertson, and Drew Smith coming off rest. They didn't pitch at all yesterday, so that's great. You got them coming out of the bullpen. Those are your guys you want.
Probably for 4 innings.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna have to pick up some slack for Peterson for sure. I think Peterson's given up something like 24 runs in his last 5 starts or something. Ridiculous, dude.
Want to trade him for Brito?
Would you? Sure, dude.
Yeah, just to switch it up.
Honestly, why not? So let's say the Mets come out on top here. I'm going to say another 8-run night from them or afternoon. I say they win, let's say 8-4.
All right.
Yeah.
And by the way, you had a perfect 3-0 on Friday's pick. So now you take a 43-41 point lead. June 1st, the deadline. Mets is the first pick for you. Obviously, Yankees, first pick for me. Definitely a tough assignment, though. I have to say, the Blue Jays, for the scariness of their lineup, the youth of their team, it hasn't matched up in postseason success. But on a regular season basis, I mean, it's such a tough task. And I feel like it's so hard to feel comfortable, even if you have a 3-run lead in the 9th inning, just with Bichette, Vladdy, George Springer all coming up in a row. Matt Chapman, who I know has hit a lot of home runs this season. Yeah. It's a lot to deal with. And I know, like I said, we've hit more home runs, but that they could come at any point. I was going to do a sorted stats here. I have a feeling Vladdy isn't off to the best start. I could be mistaken though. Actually, no, never mind. 7 home runs, 315 batting average.
Pretty solid.
Bichette, 320, 8 homers, 26 RBIs.
Nice.
George Springer, 225, 5 homers, 15 RBIs. Varsho, 6 homers, 16 RBIs. So, and then Chapman, 317, 5 homers, 22 RBIs. So a lot of high contact guys. Brito, I mean, it's just, it is such a poor matchup. It's unbelievable, but I like the way the Yankees offense is hitting. So I guess it's just as poor of a matchup the way Alek Manoah has been pitching this season. So I think it's kind of going to be like this Nationals game where it's going to be a battle of the bullpens. I just wanted to see. So Manoah, had mentioned his ERA being over 4 at 4.83. And you look at his last couple starts at Philadelphia, 4 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs. At Boston, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs in a loss. Did get the win in Seattle, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, and 4 walks, 2 out of his last 3 starts, or 3 out of his last 5 starts. So, a lot of, traffic on the base paths when he's pitching. So, I think, offense early, Rizzo's been hot, Judge, so you expect all of them to be contributors, as well as Cabrera as well. I think this is a game that is going to be maybe, both starters won't even go 5. It'll be like 5 all after 6. And then I think the Yankees get to that Jays bullpen late. Their bullpen does the job. I'd imagine Michael King will pitch more than an inning in this one. End of the day results in an 8-6 Yankee victory to take game 1 of this 4-game series.
Nice, dude. My next pick, and I'm just looking through some games. Look at the Angels-Baltimore game, actually. Shohei on the mound for the Angels. Anthony Rendon injured out, though.
He just been heating up, too.
I know.
He's hitting over 300.
Yeah, he's leading the team in batting average.
Only
kind of
1
shame.
home run, but making good contact.
Yeah, and I mean, for someone who's, been injured since he's been on the Angels.
And been on my fantasy team, it's disappointing.
I know, dude. So, I know, dude. I mean, I want to take Baltimore because of the youth, because of how good they've been. Mullins, 31 RBIs, by the way. Mountcastle killing it. Hayes, batting 302.
I told you, dude. Austin Hayes.
Pretty crazy. Grayson Rodriguez on the mound for the Orioles
versus Ohtani.
You'd
expect him to hit a couple into Utah Street over there.
Yeah, I know, dude. Rodriguez, 23 years old, 5 ERA on the season. Every time he's pitched, though, they haven't lost. Dude. I guess give me the Angels, honestly. I still think Ohtani, who, his last outing still pitched 7 innings, 3 earned runs against Houston. You'd imagine he could take care of business against some of these young guys against Baltimore. First time Baltimore's playing the Angels here. So give me the Angels. Ohtani, 7 innings, 1 earned run, say like 9 Ks and a dinger with an RBI single as well. I mean, I think he's gonna be all over this. Angels win it. I'll say 4-2.
Yeah, I think that's a smart pick there. I'm going to take the Brewers. So they're coming off a sweep of the Royals. Cardinals, we saw them dismantle the Red Sox on Sunday Night Baseball last night, 9-1, and also swept Boston. So Boston had been hot, but gets swept by the Cardinals at home. Jack Flaherty versus Freddie Peralta. We talked about Flaherty a little bit. 6.18 ERA this year, 41 hits and only 39 in the 3rd innings. A guy that I think won the Cy Young a few years back. Peralta, has settled into that starter role after kind of going back and forth between starting and relief pitching. Flaherty's at a point. I actually have him on one of my fantasy teams. This is my last go around. I think I might even just bench him for the start and see if he does good or not. But more than likely, he's going to get popped. And if you look at, let's look at his last 5 starts. So it started in Arizona, 6 innings, 4 earned, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. And then Seattle, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. The Dodgers, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. The Angels, 2 1/3, 9 hits, 10 runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. And then The Cubs last start, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So kind of like Manoah, but to a worse degree. There is so much traffic on the base paths. I mean, the guy, he can't shut down the other team. He's a hit, allowing a hit machine, whatever you want to call it. You know, I mean, he's going to give up double-digit hits, it feels like, in this game. So I think that, coupled with, we've seen the Brewers perform at such a more higher level than we have seen the Cardinals this year. I mean, they've been a mess before the sweep of Boston. So I'm going to say Flaherty gives up 6 runs, 10 hits, and Yelich, I think, will take him deep. I think he has 7 home runs on the season, Yelich. So kind of heating up a little bit. But give me the Brewers here. I'm going to say 8-3 over the Cardinals.
Wow. All right, dude. I think I'm gonna go. Oh man, again, just tough games today, dude.
I know.
I mean, do I go just to take Diamondbacks? You know, whatever, dude. Merrill Kelly. I know I'm picking emotional here. No, I'm gonna say give me the Dodgers, honestly, dude. I know the Twins have kind of been on a little bit of hot streak the past 2 games. I think scoring like 20 runs. Yeah, 27 runs over the past 2 games against the Cubs. They're on a 2-game winning streak. The Dodgers, though, I think they're on like a 6-game winning streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game winning streak right now, actually. Noah Syndergaard on the mound for the Dodgers, dude. I understand, you know, again, I wanted to kind of pick against Noah, be like, oh, ha, ha. But in reality, I mean, yeah, he's not going to pitch well. He's not going to pitch deep into the game. But the Dodgers, I think, offense will absolutely, like, destroy Pablo Lopez.
Wow. I didn't know you weren't a Pablo guy.
I mean, I was, but again, look at, I mean, not that I'm not, but look at his last 5 games. Against San Diego, did 6 1/3, 1 earned run. That's fine. Chicago only gave up 2 earned runs over 7. That's great, but Chicago kind of sucks. Kansas City got popped, 6 earned runs. Washington popped, 5 earned runs. He had that loss against the Yankees too. So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, LA with their offense just absolutely cheesing. They have a great lineup. Give me Dodgers here. I'm going to say they win like, I don't know, 7-4.
All right.
Yeah.
For my last pick, gonna go with the Diamondbacks. They are in Oakland. Oakland,
go,
9-33, 4-18 at the Coliseum this year. Losers of 4 out of 5. Diamondbacks have won 3 in a row after sweeping the Giants over the weekend. Merrill Kelly versus Drew Rosinski today. Kelly 3-3, 3.18 ERA this year. Rosinski 0-3, 8.16. You know, the Diamondbacks are just a lot better team here than Oakland, and I expect them to have no trouble. I think Rosinski will get, lit up early. Maybe Rooker hits a home run. He's been on fire, 300 average, 11 homers. End of the day, it all results in a Diamondbacks 8-2 victory over the Oakland A's.
Nice, dude.
So that's what we got. Should be some good baseball today. Good opportunities for both the Yankees and the Mets here.
Hell yeah.
To pick up some W's, and hopefully we have some good news for everybody tomorrow. But let's go now to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot. Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh my goodness. Next to come right back. Terrifying and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
All right. So Tony has the last laugh last night as the Golden Knights 5-2 over the Oilers. You think about the Knights scoring 4 unanswered between the second and third period after trailing 2-1 against the Oilers. So another failed season, having 2 of the top 5 players in the league and maybe 3 of the top 20, if you want to include Kane in there. So just a disappointing end to their season, Tony. I mean, there's no way, other way to say it. We had talked about how Vegas this year had gone through some lulls.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't know what you were going to get. But anytime Marchessault had all three of his goals, actually, the hat trick in the second period, that was the game. So just poor goaltending by Stuart Skinner, only 13 to 17 saving the shots. Carlson, a little empty netter there at the end. And this is after McDavid and Fogle had 2 goals in the first 3 minutes in the first period, but just nothing after that. So Vegas looking like they're primed in an opportunity here to return to the Stanley Cup Finals. A couple years removed from their first season, which they were ever so close from winning. So I think, at the end of the day, impressive stuff. And I think that they've shown this postseason. Yeah, Jack Eichel's, a really good player, but they have other really talented players like Marchessault on this team.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I totally agree. Again, I mean, Jonathan Marchessault came in back from injury this series.
Yeah.
And Jesus, dude, what do you have? Like 7 goals this series?
Probably.
I mean, I think he came back with a hat trick, maybe even 4 goals.
Yeah, I think it was 5, 6, and 7. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So absolutely ridiculous of an impact that he kind of had on this series. One other thing that probably was a big impact, and you look at just last night's game, and if you really look at the correlation between the games that Edmonton won, I mean, you could tell, and I was saying it, a key to success here for Vegas would have to be like limiting and or having a great penalty kill, or like limiting penalty opportunities and having a great PK. Last night, I mean, Edmonton was 0 for 1 on the penalty kill. On top of that, we've seen them kind of struggle a little bit. I wouldn't say struggle. I mean, the Golden Knights have a pesky defense, but I mean, most of their scoring came from, a man advantage opportunity. It's because Edmonton is that good with it. But also Aiden Hill last night, 38 saves. There were so many good looks from Edmonton. I mean, I want to say Edmonton kind of played some of their best 5-on-5 hockey the whole series last night. But like I said, Aiden Hill just came up absolutely huge. He was all over the place, an absolute brick wall. He defended, good-looking shots from Fogle, from McDavid, from Draisaitl, from Bouchard, slapping from the point. It's a big tale. We've seen a lot of it this postseason too of backup goaltenders coming up clutch. Aiden Hill's an example here. I think he's young. He's maybe 26 years old, I think.
Their 4th goalie this season, right?
Yeah, dude. Like, he's not even their secondary. Like, he's not like their backup.
Quick got hurt.
Yeah.
Thompson's
hurt too. So it's like, it's pretty outrageous, like of an effort that he's putting in there. And then, I mean, I think Vegas scored first in this game. That was the first time they've scored first, I think, in any of the games here. Edmonton answers back quickly. I think there was, out of the first 5 shots on goal, I think there was like 3 goals. Like scoring was early and often. Definitely some nerves, I think, from Vegas, from Hill, but then they settled down and they just played their game. Vegas had a phenomenal forecheck. And they just really kind of outplayed Edmonton and really played off of Aiden Hill a lot. I mean, they really rallied behind him. He's a big reason why they won and are moving on right now. But I mean, you'll get at Vegas as a whole here. I mean, what a team, dude. They have, like I said, a pesky defense, obviously great goaltending now. And then, with the way they move their puck and they find guys in the middle of the open ice. I mean, it's super impressive. And I know I was knocking Edmonton a lot. They are a hard team to put away. I mean, third period, they're down by 2 goals. Edmonton's the type of team that could score 3 in like a few minutes, so good on Vegas for putting them away. It's nice to kind of see them move on here to the conference finals, and looking forward to it, dude.
What does the future hold for Edmonton, though? I mean, is the coach safe? Do they make any major moves? I mean, I don't know if Renee has an answer to that, or
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think Renee would, not because of Renee, not being smart or anything. It's just a hard question to ask, I mean, obviously, the biggest thing that comes to mind is improvement on their goaltending for sure. Because if they just had better goaltending, I mean, I feel like, that would help immensely. I think they need to play some better defense as well. They lost a lot of one-on-one battles. I think maybe getting someone who's, a nice, true, like physical defenseman could really bode well for them. Just to get someone who can threaten physically, like something, like I just feel like they need that. Because it's nice to have McDavid and everything and Draisaitl. They're phenomenal goal scorers. but you need someone who's like kind of hard hitting, plays good D, can poke check.
Kessel and Schmid.
Kessel and Schmid.
Yeah, you think that would do anything?
I mean, Schmid would certainly do something, I think, but I don't know. Kessel, dude. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be really much help out there. Again, Carlson isn't a true defenseman. He's an offensive defenseman. The last thing Edmonton needs is more offense right now. Ironically enough,
you can't help it all on the offense side. I mean, on the defense.
I don't think so. Carlson gets caught sleeping a lot, dude.
Yeah. And talked about Carl. Think about how long it's been since I've even said his name.
I know. Well, San Jose, come on, dude.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it seems like forever. But
so I don't know. The Oilers
0% chance they break up the band though with McDavid and Draisaitl.
I guess it kind of depends on what type of, again, like to find yourself a true defenseman probably you don't have to give up a lot, honestly.
Yeah. So it'd be idiotic to get rid of one of them.
It really would be, I think. And there's really no reason for it. I mean, you have you have top best guys in the league, like on your team.
Could you see them firing Woodcroft and bringing in Gallant or no?
Gosh, I don't think so. Bringing Gallant specifically, firing the coach, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, you did. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough season, obviously. You're making Western Conference Finals last season.
That guy was the interim coach last year.
So
they make it there, then they take a step back. It's like, I mean, you could start next season with a tight leash. I mean,
yeah, you would have to.
Yeah. So be interested to see what they do. It's just a shame, and then I guess what is it? Is it 30 years that a Canadian team hasn't won the cup?
Is it that long?
I think so. I thought I saw something on
it's
Facebook.
I think
the Canadiens.
I think we looked it up too. It was the Canadiens.
Yeah.
93. Yeah.
30 years.
So it has been 30 years. Yeah.
So that streak continues, but kind of an interesting mix of teams that we have. You think about Panthers, Hurricanes. I think game 1 is tomorrow in Raleigh. And then for the West, of course, we got Vegas, and then winner of tonight's game 7 between the Kraken and Dallas. The Kraken coming off a dominant 6-3 win at home to force this game 7, a series that has been very much back and forth. You think about the Kraken winning game 1 5-4, then losing game 2 4-2, winning game 3 7-2, but dropping games 4 and 5 6-3 5-2 before last game. So, you really don't know what you're going to get, but it's interesting that only one of these games was decided by 1 goal. So it seems like it's been a decisive margin. Of course, when you think about game 7s, you always think about the home team. And I know you've been confident in Dallas all season. Are you continuing that narrative, or is this anyone's game? Is it too close to call? I mean, what do you think here?
I mean, listen, it's game 7 in the playoffs. It is anyone's game. I mean, anything could happen. We've seen it before this season specifically, even. But I don't know. For me, I'm still going to go with Dallas.
Yeah.
I just think like Oettinger had a bad night on Saturday, right when they played. He gets pulled. Very uncharacteristic of him. You scored 3 goals, which some of these games could have been a victory. So Saturday aside, I mean, I think these two teams have showed that they're really evenly matched the way they've been playing. This series, even it's been a lot of back and forth. I think Dallas, in order to win, I mean, obviously you'd expect Oettinger to come in here and be business as usual for him. Because like I said, uncharacteristic Saturday, given below those goals getting pulled, whatever. I think one big guy we haven't seen from, and I mentioned that would be nice if he showed up, was Jason Robertson. Someone had over 100 points in the regular season, was a big reason why Dallas is even here. I think he had 3 assists in the game on Friday. But other than that, I mean, hasn't really scored. I don't think he scored maybe once, maybe, honestly.
Eberle's got 5.
Yeah, I believe for the Kraken has stepped up huge, and that's someone who I feel like has been around in the league. Remember when he was on Edmonton? I think he's on Florida too.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, I don't think ever showed up for a playoff series like this before. And then the Stars, you think of their big wins. I mean, I think that was what Pavelski scored like a 4-goal game, right? Yeah. With like, you gotta like spread some love here. You have so much talent, so much veteran talent. Jordy Ben, I feel like hasn't been there that much. Max Domi skated really well. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds himself on the score sheet tonight. But I think if the Stars are going to win tonight, I think it's going to fall on Jason Robertson's shoulders. And I don't know. I think he's going to step up. I think giving 2 goals and an assist from him tonight. I think they ride that high. Oettinger's like chilling in between the pipes. And I think you're going to see kind of a dominant Dallas Stars. I think they're going to win this game 4-1. Game 7, move on.
You know, I got to go with the Kraken. I like the story. I love the environment that you saw at that arena on Saturday night. That was unbelievable. They're fighting till the dear end here. And I know this sounds nuts, but I think Kraken 4-0. Grubauer the shutout.
Wow.
McCann and Eberle 2 goals apiece. The Seattle Kraken versus the Vegas Golden Knights, the 2 newest franchises in the NHL.
It's rigged if that happens.
That would be, interesting and so big for Seattle.
It really is so big for hockey in general to have 2 expansion teams like that.
And just this Final Four is ridiculous. And it's a shame for teams like Edmonton, teams like the Devils, team like the Rangers, where this year was so wide open. This is like, I don't want to say easy because nothing's easy, but you know what I mean? Less difficult than it normally is.
Yeah, the Bruins get knocked out first round. Yeah. I mean, so many
Colorado
teams are just looking ahead.
The Lightning.
Dude. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like so many teams that have been the usual suspects the past few cups were just knocked out so early. And even for teams like Toronto, there was like made it past the first round. Like other teams are knocked out. We were gonna make it the cup.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it's like these potentially going to be these 4 teams like Kraken, even if it's Dallas too, honestly, still pretty surprising. So it's
something different, Tony.
Crazy postseason for hockey. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that's been nuts. And that's really, kind of everything we're going to go over. And I just want to mention this quickly. It'd be dope to see Vegas win the whole thing.
I think they do deserve it, dude.
Or Seattle.
Which would
be interesting. You were big on the Kraken last year. Seems like your interest has kind of waned this year. You were so excited for the Kraken last year.
Yeah, no, of course I'm very excited, but I don't know. I just feel like Dallas too. I mean,
because I started kind of downplaying them. No. I'm saying not even as a negative thing towards me. I think you were just like,
right.
There's no reason to downplay them. They won almost 50 games. They've been good all season. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right or no?
No, yeah. You are right.
Did kind of start
great, so.
And yeah, New York, Jersey hockey
totally blew it, dude. They really did.
And it's just kind of weird. We have that in the NHL, and then the NBA. The Final Four. You got both 1 seeds made it out, so the Nuggets and the Celtics. But then the Celtics, play the 8th seed in the Miami Heat, who couldn't look better. They eliminated the Knicks over the weekend.
Yeah.
And then you have the Nuggets as the 1 seed facing the 7th seeded Lakers. So I don't know if we've ever had that matchup before. So it's just kind of interesting for that respect. But then you just think about how strong, the Heat have been with Spoelstra, Pat Riley in the front office. They do things right. So it's a shame. I miss, Matthew talks about Jersey and New York blowing for hockey. I mean, it's the same thing with basketball. It's a shame that we don't have any local field. And Boomer and Gio were talking about this morning. It's gonna be a long time till we get the playoffs in New York. I mean, it's gonna be the fall. That's gonna be the next opportunity for playoffs in the city. But I'm interested in that Lakers Nuggets game. That game 1 will be tomorrow, so we'll talk about that then. One more comment from Matthew here.
Says Rosso and I were talking. He said that NHL does it the best with the expansion teams. They're always good within like the first 2 years. And it was pretty cool what they did like with Vegas too. I mean, the fact that like teams put up like certain guys that were able to get picked by Vegas, almost like they did their own little draft. And I think that bode well because, like, again, you look at what like Vegas brought together a lot of good players, and they all just quickly fell into like the whole atmosphere that Vegas had. And then Seattle too. I mean, you think of like the sports market around there. I mean, Seattle's pretty big. I think they picked the right spots at the right time. Certainly, I mean, sports in Las Vegas is booming as well.
Right.
And of course, just like the talent pool around hockey, the way like they schedule hockey games too. I mean, there really hasn't been much issues with like the schedule or anything like that. Always great matchups, like great coverage. I think just all around hockey, NHL just does it.
Yeah.
Well,
and I do notice, and I don't know about you, but just more people in general that you talk to realizing the I don't know, for lack of a better term, awesomeness of the NHL that didn't notice it within the last 2 years. I don't know if it's the TV coverage being on these more normal channels or what, but I do notice that.
Yeah, I think it does have to do, as much as I don't like to say it, it does have a lot to do with ESPN
right? Because everyone
it.
is just like muscle memory.
Yeah,
ESPN.
they're on ESPN.
What's on ESPN?
They see it. Yeah, dude. Like, I don't think many people are going to tune into their local like MSG or Ness
versus Olympic Network.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So you love to see that, dude. And yeah, it's great for the sport for sure.
Yeah, maybe it'll overtake the NBA before we know it.
And better, dude.
I can't believe too, though. Last thing, Tony, that Rivers and Embiid blew it again. Game 7 get blown out. Dude. I mean, are you kidding? I don't see how he makes it through it. I think he deserves to be fired, Rivers. I think he's lost his last 6 Game 7s. Are you kidding me? That's a lack of leadership, Tony.
That is a lack of leadership.
That's Aaron Boone.
What do you think about Embiid, though?
Embiid, I mean, I guess, he hasn't stepped up either. Right? He only had 15 points last
Harden
night.
Just not a winner?
9 points. You know what I mean? It's like we you don't even need to watch. I mean, it's just that apparent.
Matthew agrees.
I mean, and then you think about the Suns, the Suns firing Monty Williams, after they get Durant midseason, he only plays 14 games. The Bucks firing Budenholzer after 2 years after winning a title. So there's no time, and especially a big market like Philadelphia, a star like Embiid, a star like Jimmy Hardon.
I feel like a lot of teams, a lot of fans are calling for coaches' heads, dude.
Yeah.
Thibodeau too.
But these players have so much power. I mean, how much difference does it really make?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's up for debate. But interesting stuff, definitely. And definitely a great show today. Really appreciate
solid.
Everybody commenting, a lot of comments today. But continuing to comment, like, subscribe, all the archives on the YouTube page. Tony, Michael, Renee in costume, all the episodes of Sports Screen Time. The Dream is Free. All of our vlogs, like the Yankee Stadium vlog that came out last week. If you missed that, definitely want to check that out. As well as the merch, downtimetv.com. Everybody, we want to enjoy their day. Let's go Yankees. Tony says let's go Mets.
I do.
And we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.